We recently visited Cleveland, Ohio, and toured a few of their attractions. We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the USS COD, the Women's Air and Space Museum, the Great Lakes Science Center, the Arcade, the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, and we went to the West Side Market just before we left. So follow along. I'll also put the chapter times of where we visited in case you wanted to skip to specific chapter times to see a specific place that you're interested in. We also took a walk through the city that's actually pretty beautiful and has really good architecture, so you'll see that along the way too. All right, so let's follow along. Our first stop is going to be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame contains 7 levels. On the lower level is the exhibition hall, the museum's main gallery. It includes exhibits on the roots of rock and roll, gospel, blues, rhythm and blues, folk, country, and bluegrass. It also exhibits cities that have a major impact on rock and roll, such as Memphis, Detroit, London, Liverpool, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and Seattle. There are also exhibits about soul music, the 50s, Sun Records, hip-hop, and Cleveland's rock and roll legacy, the music of the Midwest, the rock and roll, and the DJs. There are also going to be exhibit halls on the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, and others. One of our favorite to visit was the exhibit of Elvis, in which there was a big screen that was playing a couple of songs and music videos from Elvis. We thought it was amazing and definitely well worth the visit. So if you're in the area and you look on TripAdvisor, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is definitely number one as far as somewhere to visit in Cleveland, Ohio. Also, too, the museum sits on the shore of Great Lake Erie, so once we're done, we check that out as well. Now on to the USS COD. The USS COD is located only about a half a mile from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it is credited for sinking more than 12 enemy vessels, totaling 37,000 tons, and damaging another 36,000 tons of enemy ships. All 7 of her war patrols were considered successful, and the COD was awarded 7 battle stars for the service in World War II. COD's battle flag and conning tower both carry a cocktail glass above the name O-19 to commemorate the rescue and party. COD was decommissioned on the 21st of June 1954 and placed in reserve. In 1959, she was towed through the St. Lawrence Seaway to Cleveland, Ohio, and was used as a training vessel. The COD was reclassified as an auxiliary submarine on December 1st, 1962, and later unclassified miscellaneous submarine, and that was on June 30th, 1971. The COD was in commission but classified as in commission in reserve on December 15th of 1971. The International Women's Air and Space Museum is a museum in Cleveland, Ohio. It's dedicated to the preservation of the history of women in aviation and space and the documentation of their continuing contributions today and in the future. From there, we took a walk to where the Cleveland Browns play, and that's in First Energy Stadium. And I would say that's approximately about 3/4 miles of where we were at the Women's Air and Space Museum. It's quite a big and beautiful stadium. Then I threw in here a couple of shots of the architecture and the scenery of just taking a walk through the city. Like I said before, it's quite beautiful. Next up is the Great Lakes Science Center. It's also in downtown Cleveland, Ohio. Many of the exhibits document and feature the natural environment of the Great Lakes region. The facilities also have signature and permanent as well as travel exhibits. There's a meeting space, a cafe, and an IMAX Dome theater. There are many things that you can compete with somebody else to see who can do it better or quicker. There's games, there's enrichment activities, and just a lot of fun for people, whether you're younger or you're older. If you visit this the Science Center, you'll absolutely love it. Now we're at the Arcade in downtown Cleveland. It's a Victorian-era structure of 2 9-story buildings joined by a 5-story arcade with a sky glass spanning over 300 feet along the 4 balconies. There are stores and shops, even a post office, and if you'd like, you can even have your wedding here. Here we go, Cleveland Museum of Natural History. This place is a 4.7 rating on Google, and for good reason. The museum was established in 1920 to perform research on education, development of collections of many different fields, such as wildlife, biology, zoology, and more. One of our favorite exhibits was one that would demonstrate the different levels of intensity of an earthquake. Moving outside, you can see live animals from the Perkins Wildlife Center. Finally, the West Side Market. It's the oldest operating indoor-outdoor market space in Cleveland, Ohio. It's located at the corner of West 25th Street and Lorraine Avenue in the city of Ohio. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.